All right, friends. Hi. Hello. You know me. I'm Kate. We do lots of clearing videos around here. This is called specifically, this modality I'm doing right here, right now, is called spiritual response technique. This is a very set series of charts that were developed back in the 1980s from the observation of ideomotor responses when people were under hypnosis. And this pastor and these two psychologists, they were like hypnotizing people, asking them questions while they're under hypnosis. And through that process, they developed this method to understand what might be going on in someone's subconscious. So really working with that person's higher self to draw up what's going on in the subconscious so we can look at it and release it and let it go. And there's also a very deeply spiritual component here where we just say, spirit, clear it. We ask for help. We talk to our guides. We talk to our angels. We say, I can't do this by myself. I want to be released from stuff. And I'm asking for that release. My intention is to give myself release from these issues, from these blocks, from these addictions, attractions, programming, whatever the case may be. I want it. I'm open to it. We're going to clear all the blocks out of the way that might prevent that from happening. And divine light, source, consciousness, all that is, please help me. I don't want to do this on my own. Sometimes I can't do this on my own, and I hand this over to you now to take care of. And I do my best to trust and believe that it is done. Is that sometimes hard? Absolutely. Is spirituality an exercise and a choice we make every single day? Absolutely. Faith is a choice you make every single day. And sometimes you have access to it and sometimes you don't, and that is okay. And if today is the day you're struggling with your faith, that's okay. And if today is the day you're struggling to accept your own essence as a divine being, as part of Creator, that's okay. But tomorrow is another day. And you know what? The 20 minutes after this video is over is another day. And maybe after watching this, you'll feel a little bit better. Maybe that's why you're being drawn to watch this right now, is you are somebody who is struggling with that faith, struggling to show up every day, accepting your essence as divine light. And so let's see what we can do to help us all out today. We are looking at self-punishment. We're going to clear that bad boy out of the way. We don't want it. We don't need it. It isn't ours. So let's find out the root of it. What's it about? Is there a story behind it? When did it drop into our life? You know, we can find out different little bits of information like that. And then we're going to look at any blocks we might have to our cheerfulness. Lots of us probably feel blocked to our cheerfulness right now. All you have to do is, basically go anywhere, open up any app, do whatever, and you're going to find that somebody wants to give you a reason to not be cheerful. And so let's look at what we can do to combat that. Let's look for, getting anything out of the way that is preventing us from being cheerful. Cheerful, it's not a word we use very often. It's sort of like a Snow White Disney kind of term, right? It's like, oh, cheerful. But I kind of love it. Be of good cheer. Be of good perspective. Be of good outlook on life. Be of good vibrations. Be of good energy and of good essence. And there's nothing wrong or shameful in that. I'm drawn to say that right now. It's like for so many of us, we feel like it's wrong to be cheerful in this world. We feel it's stupid. We feel like we have no reason to be cheerful when you look at the long list of reasons why this world is an absolute hot mess. And there's just so much. Humans participate in so much gross stuff, so much bad stuff. And yet, as I have been trying to highlight recently, it's the yes and. It's that and part. We cannot forget the and part. We cannot forget about the beautiful things humans do, the wonderful things humans do, the incredible impact we've had on this world and this environment, the way we protect children and animals, the way we protect the people we love, the way we nurture, the way we create, the way we transform. We do all of those things too. They just don't make the news. They just don't make the news. They don't sell newspapers. They don't sell apps. They don't sell, when we focus on how wonderful humans are, you're a lot less likely to sell clothing and beauty products and, sell us the lie that we are unfulfilled and unhappy. You can sell us, though, this story that we should punish ourselves, that we should beat ourselves up for not looking beautiful, being successful, whatever the case may be. So let's get started. I'll stop yabbering now. Let's get started with looking at the root of this self-punishment. So what's going on here with the root of this self-punishment? Is there anything in particular you want me to know about this self-punishment? We're going to chart 12. Looked like the pendulum might have had a couple things to say there, but I'm feeling confident that was chart 12. So a miasm of the spirit. This is a wounding that can happen to the spirit, a trauma or something that happens that then, this icky thing starts to develop off of our spirit. In this particular case, I have that this could be a psychic contagion. Something happened to our collective spirit to psychically make us all think that we should punish ourselves. And, I've been reading such a good book lately. It's called The Magic of Space. And it's by this, the author is just listed as Triton. I don't know if that's like an angel or a guide or whoever, and this book just manifested, but oh my gosh, I'll start posting stuff on my Instagram of it, or maybe I'll read some of it and post it on YouTube if anybody's interested in that. But the stuff about consciousness is so amazing. The stuff about collective consciousness, so freaking fascinating. It just makes everything make so much sense. But it also hits on this, which is like, ooh, yeah, here we go. When we see how awful our fellow humans are to others, it becomes like this psychic contagion, and you can't help but think all humans are bad. All suffering is real and necessary, right? We talk about that all the time. You start to feel like there's something broken and wrong with humans as a whole, which means you think there's something broken and wrong with you, which means you punish yourself, which means you're blocked to cheerfulness. And we have to be able to disconnect ourselves and say, I am human. Yes, I have a shadow side. Yes, I have an ego that might be out of balance. Yes, I do, things that are wrong or bad or whatever, but I don't need to punish myself thinking that I am inherently horrible and evil and awful. At our core, our soul, our spirit is divine. It is divine light, and it is coming in and out of these soul contracts that we have, these contracts we have to come into this earthly realm to play out a certain role, to learn a certain lesson, to do a certain job, to complete a certain task, to gather information, to bring it back to consciousness. So again, when we recognize that we are on a mission, that we all have a purpose, but that we are all divine beings, we can release ourselves from this collective mindset of self-punishment. So we're releasing ourselves now from the psychic contagion of self-punishment. This is mental programming. This is sometimes conscious programming, sometimes unconscious programming. Sometimes we're aware that we're going through this and that this is happening, and sometimes we're completely unaware of it. And so we're drawing it all into the light now, and I'm asking for all of us to level up in our awareness of this psychic contagion, of this horrible collective story that says humans are bad and we deserve to be punished, and we release ourselves from that now. And that's the thing too, it's like when you're hearing all of the horrible stuff in the news right now, everything that is coming to light, I think it's really easy for us again to go into like, oh, well, we humans are just awful and bad and we deserve to be punished. And then we begin to allow that to fuel our actions and, motivate us. So that's what we're releasing for all of us right now. What else can we know about this self-punishment today that will hopefully help us release it, move on? Go to chart 6D. Ooh, dysfunctional relationships with God, bargaining with God. What percent does it benefit us to do this bargaining with God? Not at all, not at all. It's awful is like one of the things that just popped into my mind was a lot of the awful, horrible things that are happening or that we're finding out have been happening, in secret. Sort of secret. I think a lot of people knew about it and just didn't admit it, but a lot of the horrible things we're finding out about humans participating in that is now coming to light is also stuff that is biblical. In certain parts of the Bible, they did these things openly in the Bible, certain kinds of sacrifices, certain kind of horrible actions against, kids. And it was acceptable because it was part of your offering to God. It is your bargain with God. It is, I will do this, God, if you give me this on this planet. I will do this horrible thing as a sacrifice to you so that you will bless me, or so that, whatever rule we are following. This is very, very, kind of old, and it's weird how there is some mirroring of what happened in the Bible with what is going on and what we're hearing is going on. And what I'm hearing is we need to release all of ourselves from the belief that we need to bargain with God. We need to release ourselves from the belief. And when I say ourselves, I mean the collective, right? The collective consciousness. Not necessarily you thinking this in your own mind, but the collective consciousness that still somewhere deep down buried thinks that this kind of stuff is necessary, that this kind of terrible action and behavior is necessary. So we're just asking for that to be done. Spirit, clear it again, right? Like, that's not necessarily anything we can do about that other than to pray and to say, oof, it would be lovely if we could just wake these people up to the fact that that is just so unnecessary. And God does not require that level of bargaining. Again, the thing that just came up, the illusion, the belief that all pain and all suffering is real and necessary. So we're saying we release the belief that all pain and all suffering is real and necessary. And again, this goes back to what I was just saying, right? It's like, oh, well, we don't want to be these bad people who do these bad things, but the Bible tells us we're supposed to, the Torah tells us we're supposed to, the Quran tells us we're supposed to, or whatever satanic beliefs tell us we're supposed to. So that's why we do it. It's not my fault, but that's just this belief I was told that we have to do this in order to get good with God or get good with whoever. So much horrible justification of horrible actions in the religious texts of a variety of different religions. Not all, but a lot of them have horrible justifications for horrible actions, all related to God and all related to this belief that it's just part of the plan. It's just part of the plan. Sorry, it's just part of the plan. We're just destroying this entire country because it's just a part of the Bible. It's just part of Revelation. It's just part of the plan. I say hooey to that. I don't believe in plans. I don't think that that's just part of the plan. We have free will. We don't have to enact that stuff against anybody or follow those silly rules. Okay. I'm just making my belief system clearly out there, aren't I? Let's see, chart 30. And again, this is called spiritual response technique. Somebody had asked me, and I'll respond in a comment, but somebody asked me if these charts, that I sell these charts. I do not. These charts you have to get through a certified trainer, through a certified teacher. I don't think you can buy them anywhere. Maybe you can get them like a black market copy on the internet. But the association that used to certify teachers and all of that, I think they're kind of paused right now. And so I don't know. You can look it up, spiritual response therapy, and see if you can find these charts to download. You might be able to. You can find things like this, which is this is an additional book that goes along with these charts. You can find anything that Robert Detzler wrote. You can find it you just Google it. You can find it. Detzler, Detzler. So look it up, you can find it there. So toxic shame came up, and this is not surprising. Toxic shame is often something that is given to us at a very, 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 very young age. It can also be triggered by child abuse. So when a child is abused, they then carry the toxic shame from that abuse with them for the rest of their lives. And so some of you may be experiencing self-punishment because of the abuse you experienced as children, and the toxic shame is what is fueling your self-punishment. So we're just going to say, Spirit, clear it. Release all of us now from this toxic shame that is inspiring us and motivating us to self-punish. Yeah. I release myself from the addiction to self-punishment. Say that with me now. I release myself from my addiction to self-punishment. I release myself from my attraction to self-punishment. I release myself to any attachment I have to self-punishment. Self-punishment and I, We're no longer friends. I divorce myself, body, mind, spirit, and soul from the energy of self-punishment. Anything else you want me to look at, yes or no, about the root of this self-punishment or the story of the self-punishment? No, great. So now we're going to ask our percentage question about cheerfulness. What percent are we open to cheerfulness? 0%. What percent are we blocked to cheerfulness? Oh, fun. Only 50%. So I think we got some of the block out of the way when we did this clearing. So that's great. So let's look at our openness. What can we do to open ourselves up fully to cheerfulness? I'm sorry. What can we do to open ourselves up to cheerfulness? All right, chart 18 is called higher level blocks. Again, we got to release ourselves from this belief that all pain and suffering is real and necessary. I release myself from the belief that all pain and suffering is real and necessary. Grab a pen and paper and write that down, okay? And if you think of it, put it somewhere, put it on your bathroom mirror, put it in your car, put it somewhere where you're going to see it every single day. Put it down on a Post-it note. I release the belief that all pain and all suffering is real and necessary. And I know that sometimes it is just my misconception. Suffering can be simply my perception of something, how I choose to read it, how I choose to experience it, how I choose to see it. And I release myself from seeing things from the lens of suffering now. I shatter and destroy my glasses. They're always telling me that something was suffering when it wasn't. Like, you can just like that. I like to use like visuals and imagination. I just like to really get into it in my mind. Like, I just saw myself taking off those glasses of suffering, throwing them on the ground and stomping all over it. We don't need those stupid glasses anymore. All right, here we go. Now, what else can we do to open ourselves up to our cheerfulness? Again, we just got to stop thinking that it's necessary to suffer. We do not have to suffer. It is not necessary to suffer. It is absolutely not a necessary part of life. Miscellaneous past lives and past lives in other dimensions. So there's miscellaneous past lives and past lives in other dimensions that are screwing with us right now, blocking us to our cheerfulness. So I'm going to ask what the energy is from those past lives and the past lives in other dimensions that we're going to release. So what is the energy that is blocking us to our cheerfulness? Envy. Ooh, because we want what somebody else has. We're not happy with what we have, so we're not being cheerful. Greed. Ooh, the greed and the envy. I find that so interesting. Insanity. Wow. Okay, on the outside. Which one on the outside? Hate. Greed, envy, insanity, and hate. We release ourselves from those energies now, energies that were given to us from a past life. And you can just sort of like roll your shoulders and wiggle your hips around. My entire body just cracked when I did that. And it's just like, yeah, I release myself from the energies of those past lives, the greed, the envy, the hate, the insanity, and just like wiggle it off. Somatically getting your body engaged in this process can be so freaking helpful. That's why I do the visualizations. That's why I like stomp on the floor. It's why I release it from my physical form. And you'll know what your body wants to do just by listening to your body. As I'm doing this clearing, if you start to feel tension in certain areas or notice certain things in your body, that's these energies trying to get out. So let it happen. You know, think about tightening or releasing that part of your body. So calling in all the energy, tight, and then releasing it, using your brain, using visuals, using your hands to like freaking let something go, shake it away. It's like, no, I don't want you anymore. Let it out, let it out, let it out. Get that body involved. It can be really helpful. Okay, so now what percent are we open to cheerfulness? Did you see that? That went to 100%. Beautiful. Now we were 50% blocked. Now what percent are we blocked to our cheerfulness? We're still 50% blocked. So let's go. We'll do that as our final thing today, and then we'll wrap up. Trying to get this done in under 30 minutes. It's hard. Okay, what are we going to do to unblock us all the way to our cheerfulness? Chart 11, what can we do to unblock us to our cheerfulness? Again, we're back to that miasm of the soul, that wound of the soul. It's the archetype, this identity that was created from a trauma, from a wound to the soul. And that is what is blocking us to our cheerfulness. So we're releasing ourselves from these wounds, from these traumas. We're asking for full healing, just for the love of spirit, the love of divine light to come and wash over us now and heal all those wounds. You can say, I open myself up to the love of spirit, allowing it to heal all my wounds. I open myself up to the love of spirit, allowing it to heal all my wounds. Kind of sad, right? Kind of sad that we didn't have to say that, but we do. We have to open ourselves up and say, I do want this. I do want healed. I do want to feel better. Okay, anything else we can do for this final clearing out of the blocks? We're going back to this dynamic with these just dysfunctional relationship with God. Interesting, is this misuse of God consciousness or was this idolatry? So misuse of God consciousness. We've been misusing God consciousness to block ourselves to our cheerfulness. Yeah, and I buy that, right? It's like, it's that same, you know, the religious communities are so good at believing that suffering is a way to get in good with God. And that is absolutely a misuse of God consciousness. When you preach and you buy into the story and you develop these cults that say, if you suffer, you will get in good with God, you'll be loved by God, you'll be, you know, you'll inherit the earth. That is a misuse of God consciousness. It is against the original intention, and it is against the truth, which is we are all divine and God loves us all equally, and we are all part of the same whole. And when we don't accept that, it's a block to our cheerfulness. It's a block to our happiness. At least true cheerfulness and true happiness. You can pretend, but it ain't real. Okay, so now that we've drawn that to the light, now that we've said, I release myself from any misuse of God consciousness that I'm participating in, and I release the collective now from all of their misuse of God consciousness. Now that we've said those things, now what are we going to do? Anything else? Nope, that's not my question. My question is, now what percent are we blocked? 0%. Beautiful. So we did it. We did our full clearing around this self-punishment and around this cheerfulness. I hope that that was helpful for you in some way. And now we're going to do our replacement energies. We're doing 100% of 100%, a mop-up, clearing and releasing anything that didn't come up in the charts today, giving us all a general clearing and a good spiritual kick. We all need a good spiritual kick today. So if anybody feeling a little kick in the pants right now, that was me. Hi. Helpfulness. We're calling in some helpfulness. And again, I'm calling on all of our high self committees, all of our teams, our guides, our ancestors, our gurus, our masters to be able to help us in this transition from this energy and collective thought around self-punishment, shifting us into cheerfulness. So we're calling on our guides, our gurus, our masters, our ancestors, our angels to help us shift into this cheerfulness. Let's drop in. Let's find ourselves right here, right now, in this very present moment, accepting and receiving this healing for ourselves and for the world. Taking a nice, good, healing, cleansing breath. Thinking about how we want to now be showing up. Think about your next action. Think about the thing that you were going to do later today that was in the energy of self-punishment, and consider how you can switch it into the energy of cheerfulness. That way that you were just about to abuse yourself, that way that you were just about to limit yourself, that way that you were just about to sabotage your life, your relationships, your job, your entire story. What is one action you can take to shift out of that and take the other path into a cheerful life? Okay, everybody, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on another episode of Clearing with Kate.